How's it going, everyone, and welcome back to another FPL video. Today we'll be looking at the best wildcard team and my team selection ahead of the GW34 deadline. And if you didn't already know it, where have you been? But Chelsea and Man United have a confirmed double Gameweek 34, and with the injury to Rudiger and him being ruled out of this weekend's fixture, that has completely changed my transfer plans, but we'll get into that when we look at the team selection now. So yeah, quickly have a browse at the fixtures if you don't already know it. We're still awaiting confirmation of Man City versus Wolves, or can I say Wolves versus Man City, which could either take place in Gameweek 36 or 37. And according to Ben Krillin, there's a very high chance that we will know about when that fixture will take place tonight. So yeah, once that is confirmed, we can then think about chip strategy, transfer strategy. How are we going to get in the likes of De Bruyne or Sterling on a punt, or even Mahrez, try and get Triple City for their double game week. But yeah, when that is confirmed, we will think about it. But for the time being, let's have a look at the team selection and then the best wildcard team for Gameweek 34. So a quick review of Gameweek 33, and it was quite a bad one for me, but it could have been a lot worse. The King Mo Salah absolutely saved me with his 19-pointer against Man United, and I finished the game week on a net 70 points, which took me from, what was my rank? I think it was 3.9k. Yeah, 3.9k down to 5.1k. And even if you have a look at all these mini leagues, red arrows galore. But yeah, what am I meant to do? It was one of those bad weeks for me. And, you know, I completely put that down to me making bad decisions rather than variance, what we like to say, you know, when it comes to your luck, when it comes to FPL. Arsenal were defensively poor in the last few game weeks, but I started Ramsdale ahead of Dubravka, and Dubravka had an 8-pointer with Ramsdale getting just 3. Captaincy, I did go for the very risky option in Maddison. I was tossing up between Maddison and Barnes. I'll be dead honest that I didn't consider Salah as the captain, purely based on you know, just being blinded by the double game week, which we so often do. So yeah, I went for Maddison instead of Barnes, and according to livefpl.net, I needed 9 points more. I needed a net 79 points as my safety score to not drop in rank. So I would have had basically a grey arrow. And that tells you how important captaincy is. I've said it time and time again, and I completely believe that captaincy is the single most important aspect of FPL. Get your captaincy right and you'll be flying. I mean, if I captained Barnes instead of Maddison, I would have got that net 9 points that I needed, and I would have had that grey arrow, possibly even a tiny green. Who knows? But yeah, it resulted in a red arrow. And if you captain Mo Salah, well done to you, and to quite a few of you who brought in Ronaldo for his hat-trick. Fair play. So yeah, I think I am still quite set to finish in the top 1k this season. It has been the aim since the beginning, and I just can't seem to get into that 3-digit rank. The closest I've been was when I was 1.8k. And captaincy has been the one thing that has let me down this season. I was so often on a 50-50 call, and I went with the wrong decision, and it's painful, but that's FPL. What can you do? So yeah, I do think the top 1k is still very much on, and that is the target. And with that, now let's have a look at my team selection for Gameweek 34. So this is my bust team ahead of Gameweek 34 without making a single transfer, with 3.1 mil in the bank. And yeah, I have a few issues in the team. Firstly, Rudiger has now been confirmed out, injured for the West Ham fixture, and could possibly be back in time for Manchester United away. Cucho Hernandez is very likely out until the end of the season, but there's a slight chance that he could make it back in time for the big double Gameweek 36. And Matt Doherty is definitely out for the rest of the season. So yeah, before the Rudiger, injury came about, and before it was confirmed earlier today that he is definitely out, I was looking at bringing in Alonso for Doherty and Mason Mount for Martinelli. With the Mason Mount price rise today, that would price me out of those moves, but I wasn't too concerned because with the Rudiger injury rumors and so on, I already knew that I will now be looking at removing Rudiger instead of Matt Doherty. I've always wanted to get rid of Rudiger for a long time now. I've always wanted the likes of Reece James or Marcus Alonso, a defender that offers a lot of attacking potential, your fullbacks. And I had basically no way of doing that without it being a complete sideways move. Now with Rudiger out injured, that has completely changed my thought process on the transfers. And if you had a look at my article on players to target for Gameweek 34 with the focus being on the Chelsea assets, I basically rated them in priority order, in my opinion, from best to worst. And it depends what you're truly looking for. If you're on a free hit right now, going for the likes of Timo Werner is definitely an option. His numbers have been amazing. But if you're looking from now until the end of the season, like so many of us are doing, and we're trying to keep our Chelsea assets until third place is officially confirmed for them and secured, I don't expect rotation or massive rotation until that moment. So I will be getting rid of Rudiger, and in comes Reece James because I have a bit more budget now, instead of getting rid of Matt Doherty. And the only concern with Reece James currently is that he has been playing at right centre back instead of playing in a right back or right wing back position that we're so accustomed to seeing. And that's because Tuchel has come out and said that he is basically, easing Reece back in after his injury, and he doesn't want to put too much strain on his body. And fair enough. I know we all thought Reece James played at centre back to, avoid him being exposed defensively when he came up against the likes of Vinicius Jr. and Wilfried Zaha. But if you've watched the last game against Arsenal, Reece James did start yet again at right centre back. But once Chelsea were trailing and needed the goals, Reece then went back to his usual position, and I expect him to play in that position going forward, especially after that loss against Arsenal, because let's be honest, third place isn't secured just yet. So yeah, Reece will be coming in, and I will be getting rid of Martinelli, who has now become a proper rotation risk, with Nketiah hitting form at the right moment for Arsenal. He's very cheap as well, so if you want to bring in Nketiah on a punt after his 2 goals against Chelsea, why not? I think he's just 5.4 mil. So I would have 8.2 mil in the bank, and I will be bringing in Kai Havertz. I do think Kai Havertz has, the ability to play every single minute between now and the end of the season, and he's shown that he's improved massively in terms of his attacking stats. He's gone from being a rotation option to now being, in the starting 11, vital in attack, and he leads in all the major attacking stats in that Chelsea lineup. Shots and targets, big chances, he's up there. And Mount's stats are quite similar to Havertz, but Mount is more the playmaker, if you know what I mean. I want goals. I want a ton of goals, and this game week, captaincy is a tough one for me. I will be taking that -4, as I've shown you. I will start Dubravka ahead of Ramsdale, and although it is tempting to play Shaw with a juicy fixture against Norwich. If you've watched Pookie recently, do we think Newcastle keeps a definite clean sheet? I don't think so. So to split the risk, I think I will go for Saiz to start ahead of Shah. But Saiz as well is a rotation risk. I'm just in such a bad situation. I wish I had my second wildcard available, but as you know, if you follow the channel, I've used the wildcard around, what was it, Gameweek 27, Gameweek 28, and used the bench boost in Gameweek 29, which worked out quite well for me. So this is basically how I will be lining up for the game week. But the next step is captaincy, and this is a massive one. Mo Salah, the man has shown that he will always remain the most consistent FPL asset in the game. He's not too far off from breaking his own FPL record, which is 303 points total. I think he's around 53 points or so away from breaking that record, and I wouldn't be surprised if he does. He was lacking goals, he was lacking the form, but in his underlying numbers, he was still up there, and he's proven that by getting 2 goals, an assist, a clean sheet point, and all 3 bonus points against Manchester United in the last game week, getting a total of 19 points. So yeah, Salah is a standout captaincy option this game week, despite it being a single game week for him. He comes up against an Everton side that is absolutely lacking in form. They're in a proper relegation battle now, and according to DraftHound, Salah has a 68% chance of scoring this game week and a 29% chance of getting at least 2 goals. That's quite high, if I'm being honest. But yet again, I am being a little blindsided. I am being blind. I have my double game week goggles on yet again, because I do feel that Havertz, along with Salah, are the 2 best captaincy options this game week. For the time being, I do have the armband on Havertz. I expect him to play in both games. The Man United game isn't as difficult on paper based on their recent form, and I do expect Chelsea to score a few goals there. West Ham, they're still focusing on their match in Europe, so they could be playing like they're on the beach. That's why I'm slightly favoring Havertz, just because he has 2 fixtures. If he played West Ham in a single game week or Man United in a single game week, he wouldn't even be in the conversation. Let's be honest, it's because he has a double game week that he is my captain at this moment in time. But yeah, Salah isn't very far away from being my captain as well, and we'll see come close to the deadline. I will be posting my final team here on YouTube and on my social media, which is Twitter, Instagram, and so on. So yeah, if you are interested in seeing who I do end up going for in terms of captaincy, make sure you subscribe to the channel, because the second that you do, when I post something, you will be notified, and it should show up on your main timeline when you're on YouTube. I don't intend on taking a further hit to possibly bring in Mason Mount. Don't think I have the budget for that in any case. Yeah, I think the -4 is good enough. 2 Chelsea players, more or less sufficient. So yeah, that's me all set with my Gameweek 34 team selection. And now we'll have a look at the best wildcard team for Gameweek 34 in my opinion.
A few moments later.
So I didn't want to waste too much of your time by going and selecting each and every single player. This is the best wildcard team in my opinion that I've come up with, and let's break that down. Let's break it down into why I feel this is the best wildcard team over and above any other team out there. First of all, I did lose a bit of value on this team. When I created this team last night, it left me with 0.5 mil in the bank. But as you can see, I am now left with 0.3 mil, which is still fairly decent. I'm not entirely sure what my team value is. I think it's around 104 mil, like 104.5 or so. That's including the money in the bank. And if you don't really have that much money in your bank, we can make alternatives. Just comment below if you can't reach this team, and tell me who you can bring in, who you can't bring in, and then we'll just have a look and I'll give you my opinion on who you can downgrade and possibly bring into your teams. So there are a few foundation picks here for this wildcard team. And those foundation picks are Schmeichel, James, Cancelo, Trent, Salah, Mount, Havertz, and Pukki. I'm sure you're wondering, Pukki? Yeah, Pukki. So when you are making your wildcard team, when you are drafting it right now, I want you to consider double Gameweek34, and that's exactly why we have triple Chelsea in this team. You may not want them from now until the end of the season, but that's exactly why we have free transfers. You can take a hit to get them out if need be. If third place is secured and we do expect rotation, fair enough. You can sell Havertz or Mount for a Coutinho, for instance. That's assuming you don't already have triple Villa. But you make do with your team. I want you to also consider that after drafting this team, you have 2 free transfers until Gameweek 36, which is the biggest double gaming of the season. So you can make a judgment call if you want to get rid of a player that doesn't look, the most convincing. They don't seem to be in form, and you want to get rid for another player that could come in that looked better in either Gameweek 34 or 35. That's the plan. Also consider your chip strategy and whether you have, your bench boost left, whether you have your free hit left. You have to consider everything. I know using your wildcard right now is still very team specific. It depends on whatever chips you have and how you want to play. It depends on your current rank. Is your aim to finish in the top 1k like mine is? Are you very far away from your target rank? Maybe you're around 500k and you want it to be around 100k in the world. Well, you're going to have to take a few punts then. You would have to have a team with someone like a Kevin De Bruyne in here. It depends on your mini leagues. How far off are you from the top? There are so many things to consider when you are playing your wildcard right now. And don't forget that there is also another double game week in 37. And Man City are also yet to get their double game week, which could either be in gaming 36 or 37. And that, as I've said earlier in the video, that could be confirmed tonight. So the teams that I want to target in this wildcard are Man City, Liverpool, and Chelsea. Chelsea, as I said, double game week this game week. You have to have a triple up. Liverpool, in going for a triple up, I think you're good to go from now until the end of the season. Very unlikely that any of them get rotated, especially with the title on the line with so much to play for. I do know that Robertson has a direct replacement in Tsimikas, but Tsimikas isn't Robertson. He doesn't offer as much as Robertson. Yes, Tsimikas has amazing potential. He does have the quality to perform and get us assists and so on. And at 3.7, that is amazing. But I don't expect Robertson to be dropped from the first 11 of Liverpool from now until the end of the season, especially if the title is still up for grabs. If Liverpool drop a few points between maybe the next 2 game weeks, the title could be over. Not definitely over, but if we do feel that the title is definitely over, then sure, you can get rid of Robertson and bring in someone else from a different team. You don't necessarily need a Liverpool triple up. I've gone for a Man City double here with Foden and Cancelo. Foden is not part of the foundation picks, as I've mentioned. Cancelo is though. And yeah, Pukki's up there based on his value. He offers tremendous value and his form warrants his starting position. So let's start with Schmeichel. Okay, Schmeichel on his own has great fixtures from now until the end of the season. He has a double-double, so he doubles in gaming 36 and he doubles in gaming 37. Brilliant, right? So yeah, if you don't have a free hit available, Schmeichel is the man to bring in on your wildcard right now. He's a save magnet type of goalkeeper. He's already saved 2 penalties this season, so saving a penalty isn't completely out the question with him. And with Leicester still being involved in Europe, the likes of Maddison, Barnes, Vardy, all these players are very likely to get rotated. But how rare is it for a goalkeeper to get rotated? Schmeichel is definitely a good pick as your starting goalkeeper, and you could bring in someone like a Ben Foster for your bench. low budget, and he also has a double game week in 36. So the team that you are seeing on screen right now could be used for either a bench boost in 36. Let's just have a look at how the team looks in Game Week 36 without making a single transfer. And the team looks flippin' amazing, if I do say so myself. Or without using the bench boost, like me, who has already used it, I think having a deeper squad isn't completely out the question here. There could be a ton of rotation towards the back end of the season, especially around Game Week 36 with 2 games in close proximity. Having a deeper squad is an option, especially if you have Man City players. Let's be honest, if Foden is in the team, there's always a very tiny chance, a very, very tiny chance that he could be rotated. So yeah, a deeper squad, I don't see an issue with it. So back to Game Week 34. We spoke about Schmeichel. Now I want to talk about Trent. Do we need to talk about Trent? I don't think so. Liverpool are in a title race. Trent already has the most assists this season, while joint most with Mo Salah. And I expect him to break the points record for a defender in a season, which is held by Andy Robertson, I think it is. I expect Trent to break that record, and I do expect a few more assists between now and the end of the season. Liverpool are without a doubt the most attacking team in the league this season, and if Liverpool are scoring goals, you just know that Trent is involved in them. Reece James is in this team based on his high FPL ceiling. He could get you a mega haul in any game week, but he could also get you a single pointer, because Reece, when he doesn't start, so often comes off the bench, and we hate that. We absolutely hate that as FPL managers. But what can you do? Part of the team selection, part of the video, I already spoke about, him playing at right centre back, which was a concern, but I do expect him to go back into his normal position this game week. Marcus Alonso, if you are struggling for money, like we spoke about earlier, Marcus Alonso is a proper replacement for Reece James, and he's just 5.5 more. I think Alonso is top for shots in the box by a defender since he came back into the Chelsea starting 11. So if you can't afford Reece James, Marcus Alonso could do just as well, or possibly even better. Just because I have the extra money, I'm going for Reece. But who knows? Anything could happen. That's how variance works. Next up, we've got Cancelo. The man can play on the left, on the right, in the middle, in the front three, like we have seen in the game against Liverpool in the Premier League game. Cancelo was so involved in the attack, taking shots from all over the place. He had an assist as well for Jesus' goal, I think it was. Yeah, Cancelo has to be in the team. I know he's a bit pricey, but he is worth every single penny, just like Trent is. In the midfield, Mount and Havertz. I don't think I need to talk about them too much. They're both instrumental in the Chelsea attack, both with similar numbers. Havertz with more of the goal threat and Mount with more of the playmaker threat, but both very likely to be involved if Chelsea score a goal. Mo Salah is the other foundation player, and like I said, he is the king. He's the king of FPL, he's the king of Egypt, he is the king of the Premier League. You have to have him in your team. If you are tempted of selling him, I'm sure after the last fixture, you have reconsidered that. 19 points against Man United, and like I said, Salah and Havertz to me are the standout captaincy options for the game week. Up top, I've gone for the man like Pookie. So, Pookie party has officially begun. I think he has scored 6 goals and 2 assists in the last 4 games or something crazy like that. He's a budget enabler, and that's why I say he is a foundation pick. He allows you to, spread the rest of your funds into the midfield and into the defense. And if Norwich are to stay up, which is very slim, but if for some reason, if by some miracle Norwich stays up, Pookie is the one that definitely helped them get there. He's instrumental in all attacks for Norwich, and if they are scoring, it will very likely be Pookie. So, looking at the other players in the team, I've gone for Robbo in defense, and In recent game weeks, I think his numbers are much better than Trent, shockingly. Well, definitely in terms of FPL points, Robertson has been smashing it in recent game weeks, and rotation, no issues at all. He remains in the team, and I expect him to get a ton of assists from now until the end of the season. Foden is in for that Man City cover, fixture against Watford in GW34, and if we're being honest, Foden makes the best 11 of Manchester City, and if Man City are to take this title all the way down to the wire, Foden will play the majority of the games, or will be featured in the majority of minutes per game. Up top, I've gone for Ollie Watkins, based on the fact that Villa have a double-double in 36 and 37. And that's the same reason for Matty Cash and Ramsey as well. Mateta comes in. I could have gone for someone like Broja, but he's been tremendously disappointing this season. So Mateta has great fixtures for Palace, and he comes in as a budget option. If you want to take a punt on Nketiah, why not? 2 goals in the last game, and the only concern is Lacazette is coming back from injury, so will Nketiah get as much game time? I doubt that. So yeah, in my opinion, this is without a doubt the best wildcard team for Gameweek34. I'm sure you're wondering, where the hell are the Spurs assets? Where the hell are the Arsenal assets? It's risky. It is risky. Not having the likes of Saka, Kulusevski, Son, Kane, Ramsdale. High ownership. Very high ownership. And very high effective ownership in the top 10k and so on. But what can you do? You can't have them all. And in my opinion, going without the likes of Son and Kane, or even, if you're trying to fit in one of them, I do think that with the spread of funds into the team right now, it will more than make up for having someone like Kane with a very weak bench, or a weaker defense, or weaker midfield. Yeah, in my opinion, this is the best wildcard team. Let me know your thoughts below. If you didn't already know, I now write FPL articles every single game week. I've added a link in the description of this video. So the topics I've covered this game week were plays to target, with the focus being on Chelsea assets, 5 differentials, the Gameweek 34 wildcard, and I am currently working on a captaincy article as we speak, which should hopefully be out by tomorrow morning at the very latest. I hope you've enjoyed the video and found it helpful. Make sure you join the Try Smash FPL Mini League. Follow me on my socials where I'm active every single day, and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content here. I will be back, so do put your notifications on. Good luck, and remember to FPL responsibly.